Hello, my name is Baha and today I'll be presenting my project, which is the problem with facial recognition, a global look at China and the United Kingdom. My first slide is my abstract slide. This PowerPoint will introduce and explore the ethical and global implications of China's use of facial recognition by examining its roles in the social system, the legal context, and privacy concerns. By comparing how China has utilized this facial recognition technology with nations such as the more regular democratic deployment, the United Kingdom. My introduction is while the Chinese government might argue that facial recognition is a way to make the city safer and service stuff more efficiently, there's many people that beg to differ by saying that it raises concerns about the level of monitoring and surveillance that's needed to keep people safe, but still at the same time respect their personal privacy, freedom of expression, and civil liberties. A couple of the ethical concerns surrounding facial expressions have become more prevalent when you begin looking at how technology is being used. They also monitor certain groups, and they don't really specifically tell what they're recording or allow you to adjust or see your data. My next slide is also my background slide. Facial recognition technology can operate by using algorithms to identify or verify people based on their facial expressions. The big main three steps for this process are called detection, alignment, and recognition. The systems today use real smart models that could scan over 8 points on a person's face to verify them. So they're probably looking at your eyes, eyebrows, lips, nose, all that. As with anything, it can be advanced, but everything still makes mistakes. So there's probably a good percentage of people that are there's probably error messages and thinks they're somebody else, especially with people also look the same. Again, for background, is the country has managed to install over 500 million surveillance cameras, and most of them do have facial recognition technology. These cameras are all spread out around with busy city streets, train stations, schools, and even places of religious worship. The system's all connected to a huge database that could track people's behaviors, routine, and even social interactions. And this database is also um, able to be accessed by big companies and agencies. And based on what the surveillance cameras catch and how they see you acting, they give you a rating. And if your rating is super low, you could face travel bans or even a slower internet service if you display a low score. And if you have a higher score, then you're more eligible for faster phone service or Wi-Fi service. And you're also allowed to get loans or they're more easily accessible for you. Invasive surveillance and social control. Many researchers, activists, and journalists report being watched, followed, or even arrested after being identified by government officials in public. And due to the government being centralized, it allowed data to be, as I said earlier, it's allowed to be shared across different agencies and systems. And due to the lack of privacy laws that are set in place, most systems are unable to adjust or edit view any data the government has on them. So not only do they know if they're being watched, basically it's for the government to decide if their behaviors, or it's for the government to decide if their behaviors are worthy enough to be approved by loans or stuff, and they also give out this information to other companies and stuff too, which can affect that certain person. And then even if you are like have a low score or anything like that, it kind of be unfortunate because it could be incorrect because it might be somebody else's face, but you still have the ability, or you don't have the ability to adjust or edit or see anything. Legal obedience and civil liberties. After the United Kingdom tried using facial recognition around their public spaces, received a huge amount of uproar and pushback from the public and the courts. In the UK, facial data is considered sensitive biometric information, Data Protection Act of, or it's considered sensitive biometric information in Data Protection Act of 2018. This basically states that organizations have to prove that using this advanced technology is necessary before allowing it to be put in place. So if you are going to use, or the UK recognizes that this is information, important information, especially your face and what you do in public. So they allow a lot of information on basically what you're doing if you are going to collect this type of information or collect facial recognition information. Again, for legal obedience and civil liberties, they also informed that they need to tell people and do impact assessments to evaluate any potential hazards. Due to public uproar, many police departments have refrained from using any facial recognition until they receive clearer guidelines and policies. Some major groups, including Big Brother Watch Liberty, have called out ethical concerns surrounding facial recognition, pointing to problems like algorithmic bias and a higher rate of false matches. And also, as I was doing my research, I saw how some news companies also displayed that they put out signs, basically telling everybody that facial recognition is being used at now. So I guess it kind of gives you the option if you want to be a part of that, or if you're going to allow the government to have your data. Kantian ethics and autonomy. Kantian ethics is the idea that people should treat all individuals as ends to themselves, not merely as ends to an end. This means respecting their autonomy and rationality. The way China is using facial recognition on widespread scale without asking permission from the public is a clear indication that they are going against the ethical approach. And although they say that it's for security reasons and that, like, oh, you're protecting people, it's still taking information that people are not allowing. And sometimes people also are saying the government is corrupt and they're using the information for not the greater good, I guess. Utilitarianism and public safety. Utilitarian ethics is basically about judging actions based on their outcomes and attempting to create the greatest good for the greatest number of people. China's government often defends its use of facial recognition, saying it helps reduce crime and makes the city a safer place. And there are also a couple cases where technology has helped find missing people and locate criminals. So without a doubt, there probably is a good, we can't deny that there's probably a good percentage that they are recording a lot of people, so it's probably harder for criminals to try to escape and then harder for people to go up missing too. But at the same time, there's millions of more people being harmed by this because you can't adjust what you do. And it also changes the trajectory of your life because if the government decides that you are not a person that they think is good for the environment and they give you a low score, it's harder to get loans or have access to other things that somebody with a higher score that might have. The IEE Code of Ethics. The IEE Code of Ethics promotes tech professionals to put the public's well-being first, avoid inflicting harm, and being transparent what the technology is capable for or capable of. Especially as technology gets stronger, sometimes we kind of are unaware of what it's capable of doing. So it's nice that these professionals should kind of help the public understand how strong this technology is and how we can use it responsibly. There's also a real issue when technology is being used to monitor political activists and minority groups more closely than the rest of the public. The government has also failed to explain how the systems operate and how widespread these surveillance systems are actually becoming. My conclusion is China's ability to utilize facial recognition technology is a clear representation of how ethical issues that become more complicated when introducing technology without the proper precautions, transparency, or the public's consent. It's always good to always mention the safety and efficiency when explaining how technology is beneficial, but that shouldn't interfere with the people's rights or basic freedom. So though this technology is intended to help people and provide a safer area, that shouldn't be at the risk of not telling people so they could just be unaware of what the technology is capable of and how they're being watched. Countries such as the UK display how we can invite technology into our daily lives, but with the proper precautions and a strong public presence. So when they allow facial recognition, you have to have a really good reason. They also announce it by giving you signs and telling you where it's at. And they also have way more privacy laws than anywhere else too, revolving around um, facial recognition surveillance. And facial recognition technology will undoubtedly become more advanced and more common around the world, but it's important to keep in mind that human rights is just as critical. So yeah, again, like the technology can be used for greater good and it can help us. And maybe in even busier areas like big events like that, UK could announce that they're using this facial recognition technology. And those are probably environments that missing people and crimes might happen more. So maybe to affect crimes like that, China should consider maybe something like that instead of monitoring everybody with 500 million surveillance cameras. This is my information references. This is basically the information I use to fill in my slides. And then the next slide will be what I used for